For more debates, updates, and bonus clips, sign up at thebigconversation.show.
There is no ultimate end of the universe, and it's a mistake to ask that question about life in general. We can ask, what are your purposes and what are my purposes, because we're purposive beings, and we can decide, as we've been saying, what are good things to do and what are bad things to do. But I think there isn't a final end in terms of humans somehow all having some end which gives them some special moral
How do we decide
status.
then? How do we decide on what we're here for? Well,
we're not here for anything as such, except the ends that we ourselves choose to have.
I suppose, though, then, how do we decide between the person who decides that their best end is to live selfishly, get the most amount of money and play golf until they die, and the person who gives their life away for the poor and the needy and so on? Which is there a way of deciding which of those is the way we should live, or is it simply ultimately down to
the way we should live as an ethical question is not only to think of ourselves but also to think of others, and helping the poor is obviously an important part of.
But that sounds like there is a purpose then.
No, it doesn't.
No,
it's not a purpose. It's that some things, put it this way, I would say that some states of the universe would be better than other states of the universe. So a state of the universe in which everybody suffers agony, every sentient being is in agony for its entire existence and then dies, is a worse state of the universe than a state of the universe in which every sentient being is enjoying its life for its entire existence and then dies. But that doesn't mean that the universe has an ultimate purpose, or that it's somehow the purpose of the universe that beings should not suffer and should enjoy their lives.
I think we're back to the bubble on the wallpaper again. That I think what's interesting, I mean, Justin, I think you asked Peter a good question here. I think it depends what you decide the goal is. The moment you say that something is better, for example, that becomes the questions better to as to what. For example, if I put if you see a pile of wood in my backyard and I say I spent all day making that pile, it was better than my last 3 attempts, well, it's probably important to know, was I trying to build a bonfire for Guy Fawkes Day and I want something that I can put a guy on top of and my kids have a bonfire party, or if I'm trying to build my kids a Wendy house, it's probably important to know what better is with regard
Sure, because
to.
you're a purposive being and you have purposes, and your judgment of what is a good wood pile would be affected by
exactly,
that.
But I think the fact that the problem is, though, Peter, I think in this discussion we're not just weighing purposes within someone's purposes. If you decide the purpose of your life is to help as many of the poor as possible, then we can weigh your decisions in the light of that and decide, okay, is Peter living his life in such a way as to bring about the nearest to that possible goal? Or if someone decides they're going to spend their life playing soccer, we can do the same thing. How are they achieving that goal? But in terms of weighing two people's choices, and actually I thought you came close to this at the end of practical ethics, where you sort of use the stamp collecting example of sort of saying, well, I mean, probably ultimately someone who chooses stamp collecting or playing football versus somebody who chooses something that perhaps in your mind would be more noble. We can't really weigh between them. You really do have to come down to preferences.
No, I don't say that. I do think if we're making an ethical question, we can weigh between them, and the choice that leads to more beings enjoying their lives and suffering less is the better choice, and that's probably not going to be stamp collecting.
But then I would put the question back to you, better according to
well,
what?
We